Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Ajnanatvayandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmanitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Chaitanya Manovishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Yam Rupagitamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Advaitam Savadutam Vrijana Sahitam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Devam Namom Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyabari Askita Deshatarine Vanshakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Sapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namaste Manu Api Sachiputra Mata Surupam Tasyagacham Uruparim Maturim Gostavati Yadakundam Girivaramaho Madhavasam Tapto Yasyakrita Kripaya Shri Guru Tam Namosmi Hare Krishna everyone. So I'd just like to start out by thanking everyone for being here. And I'd like to start off by saying that I'm completely indebted to Sri Guru. Why is this? Because he's given us so many matchless gifts. He's given us the highest conception of the holy name, the highest transcendental sound vibration, the most special thing available in this material world. It's not from this material world. He's given us everything. How to think of Krishna, aspiration to be a Vaishnava, everything, given our Diksha mantras, that we can meditate on to actually taste the heart's fullest fulfillment. And He's given us the shelter of Sri Sachinandana Gaurahari. So for this we're forever indebted to Srila Prabhupada. Won't I be the cause of great laughter for the Vaishnavas who always play in the nectar ocean of Sri Krishna's nectarian pastimes? Even though I am completely incompetent, mediocre, and less intelligent than the assembled Vaishnavas, I desire to taste that nectar. May the lowly words of a great clown like me cause great laughter and joy. The real Vaishnavas, the great playwrights like Rupa Goswami. So I please beg your forgiveness and beg your tolerance for hearing this Srimad Bhagavatam class. May the saints give a place on the shore of the lake of their ears to nourish this cow of mine, which is headed towards Gokula, but is afflicted by the wandering of the desert of my mouth. So today we'll be covering Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 9, Text 15. I was just wondering, is there a time limit? Okay, thank you. So, from you, Nitya, eternally, Mukta, liberated, Parishuddha, uncontaminated, Vibhudaha, full of knowledge, Atma, supreme soul, Kutastaha, changeless, Adi, original, Purushaha, person, Bhagavan, Lord, full with 6 opulences, Sri Adhishaha, master of the 3 modes, Yat, whence, Buddhi, of intellectual activities, Avishtim, all stages, Akarnditaya, unbroken, Vadushtya, by transcendental vision, Drashta, you witness, Stito, for maintaining the universe, Adimarkaha, enjoyer of the results of all sacrifices, Yatir Ekakata, differently, I'll say you are situated. Nitya Mukta Parisuddha Vibhuda Atma Kutastadi Purusho Bhagavamstradishaha Yadbhudavistim Adinantitai Swadhishtaya Krishta Sita Vadimako Valikviktaise. Anyone want to chant? Yes, Prabhu. Nitya Mukta Parisuddha Vibhuda Atma Kutastadi Purusho Bhagavam Stadishtaha Yadbuddha Vistim Marinan Vitai Adishtaha Krishta Svadipada Mako Valikatastase Nitya Mukta Parisuddha Vibhuda Atma Sadi Purusho Bhagavam Stadishtaha Udavidistam Adinandita Sadishtaya Tasya Sahitadimaguko Dadikayarase Mamektamukta Parisura Vibhudatma Adi Purusho Bhagavan Stridishta Sadbhutarvasti Marinanda Yes, Prabhu. It was whatever you like. Amektamukta Parisura Vibhudatma Sutastadi Purusho Bhagavan Stridishta Yadbhutarvasti Marinanda Stridishta Parisura Vibhudatma Amektamukta Parisura Vibhudatma Translation. My Lord, by your unbroken transcendental glance, you are the supreme witness of all stages of intellectual activities. You are eternally liberated. Your existence is situated in pure goodness, and you are existent in the Supersoul without change. You are the original personality of Godhead, full with 6 opulences, and you are eternally the master of the 3 modes of material nature. Thus, you are always different from the ordinary living entities. As Lord Vishnu, you maintain all the affairs of the entire universe, and yet you stand aloof and are the enjoyer of the result of all sacrifices. Report given by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. An atheistic argument against the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead states that if God, the Supreme Person, appears and disappears and sleeps and awakens, then what is the difference between God and the living entity? Dhruva Maharaj is carefully distinguishing the existence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead from that of the living entities. He points out the following differences. The Lord is eternally liberated. Whenever He appears, even within this material world, he is never entangled by the three modes of material nature. He is known therefore as Priyadhisha, the master of the three modes of material nature. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, text 14, it is said, Daivihesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya. The living entities are all entangled in the three modes of material nature. The external energy of the Lord is very strong, but the Lord, as the master of the three modes of material nature, is ever liberated from the action and reaction of those modes. He therefore is uncontaminated. As stated in the Ishopanishad, the contamination of the material world does not affect the Supreme Godhead. Krishna therefore says in the Bhagavad Gita that those who are rascals and fools think of him as an ordinary human being, not knowing his Param Bhavam. Param Bhavam refers to his being always transcendentally situated. Material contamination cannot affect him. Another difference between the Lord and the living entity is that a living entity is always in darkness. Even though he may be situated in the mode of goodness, there are still so many things which are unknown to him. But it is not the same for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He knows past, present, and future, and everything that is happening in everyone's heart. Bhagavad Gita confirms this. Vidaham samatitani. The Lord is not part of the soul. He is the unchangeable, supreme soul. And the living entities are his parts and parcels. The living entity is forced to appear in this material world under the direction of Daiva Maya. But when the Lord appears, he comes by his own internal potency, Atma Maya. Beside that, a living entity is within the time of past, present, and future. His life has a beginning, a birth, and in the conditioned state, his life ends with death. But the Lord is Adipurusha, the original person. In the Brahma Samhita, Lord Brahma offers his respect to the Adipurusha, Govinda, the original person who has no beginning, whereas the creation of this material world has a beginning. The Vedanta says, Janmadi yasya yataha. Everything is born from the Supreme, but the Supreme has no birth. He has all the six opulences in full and beyond comparison. He is the master of material nature. His intelligence is not broken under any circumstance, and he stands aloof, although he is broken, although he is maintainer of the whole creation. As stated in the Vedas, Katha 2:13, Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. The Lord is the supreme maintainer. Living entities are meant to serve him by offering sacrifices, for he is the rightful enjoyer of the results of all sacrifices. Everyone therefore should engage himself in the devotional service of the Lord with his life, his riches, his intelligence, and his words. This is the original constitutional position of the living entities. One should never compare the sleeping of an ordinary living entity to the sleeping of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the causal ocean. There is no stage at which the living entity can compare to the Supreme Person. The Mayavadi philosophers, being unable to adjust to all of this, come to the conclusion of impersonalism or voidism. So each and every living entity that is here in the world, we have a desire for relationships that will satisfy us. Unfortunately, all our relationships up until this point, unless they are relationships with a perfect person, has been completely dissatisfying us. So the sadhus, they realize this, and it is an unfortunate thing that we have to deal with. And why are these relationships dissatisfying to us? Well, the people are full of so many faults. 6 faults are given that we all have and we're all trying to overcome. But there's an endless amount of faults in all of our hearts here in the material world. So because we have faults, we disappoint others of our faults, and we are unable to have perfect relationships in this material world. So Srila Prabhupada is mentioning in this purport that one may conclude that therefore, since the relationships have been full of faults up until this time, let me just try to renounce all relationships. But this is the impersonalistic conclusion. And this is the greatest hindrance is committing to this path of impersonalism. Is like committing spiritual suicide. Just to sit and meditate on everything is one, absorbed in Brahman realization and nothingness, and try to completely disregard our identity and our activity. This is not the nature of the soul. It is completely against spiritual life to do such a thing. Because the soul is active by nature. It wants activity, but it doesn't want this material activity. It wants spiritual activity. So, other people, if some people may think, these impersonalists, they may come to this conclusion, if other people in this world have disappointed me in my attempt to try to satisfy them and have a relationship with them, then how can there be a person that does not disappoint? So this person, we have been so fortunate and given by our Gurudev that this person is Krishna and Krishna's associates. Krishna's associates with him are also perfect people. So who is perfect? The people with Krishna are perfect. And we recognize this, and we're trying to attain this perfection in this life. This is our training. So in this verse here, Dhruva Maharaj, he is making a point that God is different from us. So this Achintya Bheda Veda Tattva philosophy that Lord Chaitanya has given, simultaneously one and different, is the highest philosophy. In fact, a very, very learned and realized Vaishnava can use almost any argument to counteract another argument in our philosophy, because it is completely perfect. It is simultaneously one and different. So there's so many inconceivable things by our mundane material intelligence that are given in the Shastras. The Lord is very far, but He's very near. It's mentioned in the purport. Prabhupada gives some I had already mentioned. So we have to understand that some of the things, you can basically use any point of our philosophy to counteract another point. Like Mahaprabhu, when he was a boy, Nimai Pandit, he was teaching and he was engaged in teaching the boys, and he could refute any argument that was given. He would make such a conclusion that everyone all the learned scholars in the assembly would agree with him and would completely say, yes, this is the conclusion of Scripture, and then he would be able to refute it after. So this is how elevated what Srila Prabhupada gave to us. Very special. So Krishna, he's always liberated. And what does that mean? Srila Prabhupada mentions to be Atmaram, to be completely self-satisfied. He doesn't need anything outside of him for any type of satisfaction. Whereas the struggling living entities in this material world, we have so many needs. When I relate with another person and try to have a relationship with him, I'm tinged with needing something from him. And this is therefore exploitive. So we're constantly busy exploiting everyone. This is why our relationships, another reason why they're left unfulfilling. But Krishna, he's completely free. He doesn't need anything from us. And all he wants from us is what little love we can give to him, and try to develop that love into full-blown love and give it to him fully with our thoughts, our words, and our actions. That's all he wants from us. So because he is perfect and complete, all emanations from him in this world are perfectly equipped as complete wholes. Om Purnam Ada Purnam Idam Purna Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnam Adaya Purnam Eva Vishishyate. When Krishna has a relationship, it's just to give freely. It doesn't have some hidden agenda like we have when we're trying to have a relationship with people. So we are trying to use each other for our own happiness, and in turn we will not be able to be truly happy because of this factor. But Krishna, he's not trying to do this, so he's already happy. He's always blissful. And everyone engaged in fully just serving him with everything they do, they're also completely blissful. And this is a quality that comes in every single person who practices this sadhana given by our acharyas. I have seen so many bhaktas come and receive training. And just in a 3-month period, bhakta program training, I saw their heart transform very, very drastically by receiving this training. Every single person had tried it, even if it was just for a week. It's very, very special, this process Guru Maharaj has given us. So, Guru Maharaj, he outlines 6 things in this verse. Why and how Krishna is different from us. So this, what I just mentioned, is one of them. And another one of these things is that Krishna is all-knowing. Krishna already knows everything. He knows, he's in our hearts, therefore he knows us. He knows everything. He knows present, past, future. So Srila Prabhupada, our dearest Srila Prabhupada, he says, even if somebody is completely situated in the mode of goodness, they cannot be all-knowing. An example is given doctors. Doctors go through so much schooling, 10 years or more of schooling, to try to help people. It's a wonderful thing they're trying to do, to care for somebody, but still, so many deaths come. Doctors accidentally kill people every year due to the treatment and them not knowing the proper way to treat the person. So doctors, they have all this intelligence. They're if somebody is not selfish and have a selfish motive in pursuing a relationship, he wants to help the person just for their own welfare, bring them to Krishna. Even if that is the case, then they still do not know everything. They still cannot give proper guidance completely. In fact, no jiva knows everything. None of them, even Narada Muni. Narada Muni, when he was visiting all the different palaces in Dwarka, he was observing Krishna in so many different situations with so many different of his wives. And Krishna he had expanded himself in all of these different palaces, and he was doing different activities with each one of his wives. And they were feeling that Krishna is giving his full attention to me. He is my husband. He's completely dedicated to me. So in one house, he was playing chess. In another, with one of his queens. In another, he was giving charity. In a third, he was performing rituals in the morning, Vedic rituals. In another house, he was teaching. In another, he was resting. In another, he was eating. In another, he was talking with a good friend. And like this, Narada Muni saw this and he was completely bewildered. How can Krishna do this? And that's Narada Muni. Even he is not all-knowing. Or when Krishna, he gets up in the morning. Upon rising, he gets up and he blows his bugle. And it's a signal for all of his friends to come. So many countless gopas come in the morning. And they have countless amounts of cows. They all take care of thousands of cows. So they come to greet their best friend in the morning. And Krishna, Mother Yashoda, he bids him farewell to go take care of the cows. And he goes out with his friends. And when they're keeping the calves and right ahead of them, and they're leading them into the forest around this time now. And they're calling their calves, Hihi, Padma, directing them, Rini, Mangala, going to the forest with the friends, Krishna's best friends. All of them are playing, all of them are joking, singing. Some of them are imitating the butterflies. Some of them, they see the monkeys showing their teeth. And the cowherd boys mimic the monkeys, show their teeth to the monkey. Or they see the frogs on the bank of the Yamuna. The frogs are ribbiting, and then they jump into the water, and the cowherd boys too, they jump into the water following the frogs. Or they see the shadows of the birds going by, and they try to stand in the shadow and act like they're birds. They're engaged in the most blissful life in Goloka Vrindavan. Some of them are twirling sticks up in the air. Some of them are playing ball games. Some of them are armed with shields and swords to protect Krishna in the day out in the forest. Because Mother Yashoda, she's heard that her dear Krishna has been slaying demons. She wants to make sure that these demons, they don't hurt Krishna. When they're on the way with the cows out in the forest one day, they come across a great snake. A great snake. In fact, the cowherd boys, they can't even tell it's a snake. They think it's a cave. There's this snake here. The snake is 8 miles long. And it's a great demon disguised as a snake. In fact, this is the brother of Putana, this demon, and he has come for revenge. So this snake is in the forest along the path where the cowherd boys are tending to their cows. And the cowherd boys, in their ecstasy and their jubilance, they think, let's go dancing in the cave. This is a giant cave. The snake's lips are described to be touching the ground and touching the clouds. So imagine such a mouth. Its teeth are described like mountains. How big this snake is, this demon. So they go into this snake. And what are the cowherd boys thinking? They're just chanting Krishna's names and playing. And if there's any danger, they're just thinking, Krishna, you'll surely protect us. We love you so much, and we trust that you love us. You'll surely protect us. But the snake, he doesn't close his mouth yet, because he thinks, I want to try to swallow Krishna. Because if I swallow Krishna, then all of his friends and relatives and all of the Brajabasis will be in great distress, and I'll get my revenge. So when Krishna, he follows the cowherd boys into the mouth of this great snake, this cave-like snake. And what does the snake do? He closes his mouth. And what does Krishna do? Anyone know? Yes. Krishna expands himself and kills Aghasura. And when Lord Brahma and the demigods saw this, they were completely bewildered. They couldn't understand. So even the demigods, even Lord Brahma, who created this material universe, whose body is made of intelligence, he still cannot know everything. But Krishna, he's all-knowing. So we often make the mistake sometimes when we come out of the lower modes of ignorance and passion and we come to goodness. Srila Prabhupada outlines that the mode of goodness is contaminating too. It's very binding. Because somebody who comes to the mode of goodness, he thinks, I know Bhagavad Gita. I know Srimad Bhagavatam. But nobody ever knows Srimad Bhagavatam who says, I know Srimad Bhagavatam. This is a verse given in Chaitanya Bhagavat. Nobody who says, I know Srimad Bhagavatam knows Srimad Bhagavatam. It's just not true. We're just insignificant living entities here right now. So we cannot know everything, but Krishna, he can. Sometimes one would say, then how is it that somebody makes mistakes if he knows everything? Because sometimes Krishna, he makes mistakes. Like sometimes he sees Srimati Radharani in the distance when he's herding his cows and he's milking his cows. Or he's going to milk a cow. And he's so absorbed in her beauty that he goes to go milk a cow, but he accidentally milks a bull instead. Or the gopis. The gopis, they're so absorbed in their love for Krishna. When they know it's time to go meet Krishna, they sometimes put on their clothes completely backwards. And they don't even realize it. So one may say, if these are perfect people, how are they making mistakes? But these mistakes really, really please Krishna and please his devotees. Externally, they look like mistakes, but there's a whole underlying meaning to the mistake. It's to facilitate a very, very deep, loving connection and reciprocation with the Lord and his devotees when this happens. So there's a third difference here that Dhruva Maharaj gives. Krishna, he comes here out of his own free will. The Prabhupada, he told us that this material world, it's like a prison house for the conditioned living entities who want to try to enjoy separate from Krishna. So it's not the fact for us that we came here according to our own will. Whereas Krishna, he came here just to enjoy with his friends, just to have a good time. But we want to just try to have a good time all the time, but we see that this does not ever happen. There's so much suffering when we have this mood of I'm going to try to enjoy separately from Krishna. That's where the root of all suffering comes from. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he mentions something very interesting in his very nice book, Jaiva Dharma. He mentions that this material world, it is a play. It is like a play. One of Krishna's plays, in fact, is an extension of Krishna's Leela, because he came here. But the conditioned living entities, they don't realize this, and they think this is a Leela for my own enjoyment. So they're completely suffering. But as soon as the living entity realizes that this is an extension of Krishna's Leela, and he does everything very, very directly for Krishna. He makes the connection in his meditation and every single activity that he's doing with Krishna, and he begins to participate in this divine plan of Krishna's, then he also too becomes completely blissful. And this world, it starts to become very light, in fact. But it's so heavy when we're thinking, I'm separate from this. So in order, the great souls, they realize this. Great Vaishnavas. And in fact, we see such souls even when the body becomes diseased or stricken with some type of ailment, or there's some type of difficulty that arises, the great Vaishnavas, they stay completely fixed. It's like they're not even withered by it. Because they have such deep bhajan, meditating on Krishna, they can just completely go inward when these kind of things happen. Or they can see it as Krishna's grace, as Krishna's mercy. Bhaktivinoda Thakur plays every difficulty that I incur in Krishna's service. May that be the greatest bliss for me to relish. So how is this possible to develop this vision? Well, when somebody sees that all difficulties that are coming their way are due to their own action, then they can see everything as a lesson. Krishna, when we unplug that fan of material enjoyment, and the fan keeps spinning a bit, and it slows down, and it stops spinning, our selfish material motive stops spinning, then Krishna, he gives communion with the devotee. And he does this through the processes that are given by our acharyas, this Vaidhi Bhakti. This Vaidhi Bhakti, it is essential for one to follow, so you can establish communion with the Lord. And once that communion is established, then this knowledge comes that Krishna, he's so kind to me. He's giving me different challenging situations to uproot these unwanted things in my heart. This is so kind of him. And one goes through this process where they're engaged in the service of the spiritual master and chanting Hare Krishna, and all of these things just are coming to the surface. And through the service given to him by his Gurudev, Krishna gives him intelligence on how to deal with these things and uproot them out of the heart. So this process here is called a nartanavritti. And a lot of devotees, this is a long process. It said to obtain the mercy of Bhakti Devi, to obtain Bhakti Devi's kripa, we must take on an environment that is so hot, that is so intense, that is so hard. And without doing that, this anartanavritti process will go on for decades. But if somebody takes shelter of their dearest Gurudev, and they stay with him, and they go, and they're in an environment that is so hot, and they renounce everything that I want to do, and they take direction of Guru Maharaj and do what he wants to do, this process can be sped up by a lot. And it is one thing to recognize our faults internally, but it's another thing to be given the intelligence to change. And we can see every inconvenience as mercy from Krishna to help us change. One practice that was exceptionally helpful for me was every time Krishna would give me some intelligence of seeing another unwanted thing in my heart over and over and over again, rather than just dwelling that I have these unwanted things in my heart, I would actively flip the role in my mind. With Prabhupada, there's an example of a devotee who was paying obeisance. He didn't want to pay obeisances in the morning. He said, Prabhupada, I don't feel like it. I don't want to pay obeisances, and I want to be genuine. And Prabhupada said, you pay obeisances anyway. The feeling will come. So I applied this to the flipping the role. Okay, this devotee, he is not staying on beat with the kartals. Or I think this kirtan should be much more opulent. So therefore, my meditation, where is it? It is on finding faults in the devotees. This is a big distraction. My meditation is not on Krishna when this comes. So what does one have to do? They have to completely flip the script. This person, he could be doing anything, but he's a great saint. He's sitting here chanting the names of Hari, chanting the names of Radha and Krishna. How fortunate am I to be in such association? rather than analyzing, oh, I don't like, he does this like this isn't right. It's a big distraction. But this is just one example of how we can flip the script in all of our contaminating ways of thinking. And at first, it will be forced, just like that devotee was forcing himself to pay obeisances. But after some time, what did he develop? Real feeling. He actually started to feel that way. So this is a very helpful trick when Krishna gives you the intelligence of seeing your unwanted things and reversing the role. There's this fourth difference that Dhruva Maharaj is giving, is that Krishna, he's full in the six opulences. So no one can compare to this. Everyone, they want opulence. Everyone wants some opulence in this material world. Everyone wants some wealth in this material world, some beauty in this material world. But we see if somebody is given by Krishna exceptional beauty, it becomes a big problem for them, doesn't it? This person, he feels, nobody wants me for who I am inside. Everyone just wants to pay attention to this outer shell. Well, it's a big struggle. Or there's been studies being done on people who win the lottery. When somebody wins the lottery, they're being given a lump sum of money, and they think that that's going to solve all their problems. I just want all the wealth. So people are busy doing these tickets, and one person wins. There's a study. Something like 95% of people who have won, their lives have become completely destroyed by this. Because every person in their life just wants to take more and more from them. So we see, if anyone in this material world becomes full in any one of the six opulences, they don't have the capacity to handle it. Whereas Krishna, he's completely full in all opulences, and he can handle it like it's nothing. Because he has the most important of all the opulences, renunciation. Without this opulence of renunciation, you become extremely attached to your opulence, and therefore it becomes a great cause of suffering. But Krishna, he's already satisfied, so he can be completely renounced. So this is something that we can't handle. We can't handle unlimited opulence as jivas. It is how Krishna has set it up. So there's another difference given, the fifth difference given by Dhruva Maharaj, which is that he is the supreme maintainer. So Krishna, he's maintaining all the living entities, very specifically. Whereas as conditioned souls, we think, I'm going to work this job so I can give maintenance to my wife and my children and my family. And so a man may work so hard at his job, completely detached from his job and only attached to his family, thinking, I'm going to do this to maintain my family because I am the maintainer. And what happens? He works so hard and so selflessly, and rather than the wife giving him love, what does she do? She spits in his face and she leaves him. He says, you have no time for me. I'm leaving. I don't like you anymore. Or what happens when the man, he thinks he's attracted, he's trying to maintain his wife, and they become married because of some bodily attraction, or they think they have something special. And then after some time, the wife becomes old, the wife becomes fat, and then the man is no longer attracted because he is just seeing the perverse reflection. The relationship is just completely perverted. It's not a true relationship. So what happens? The man goes and he finds another. And what is the wife left with? She says, he doesn't even give me money anymore. I'm left with this child. He doesn't give anything but trouble. So this is what happens when we try to make relationships devoid of Krishna. And even when Krishna is in the relationship to some degree, brahmacharis, they may think, this society, it's going to completely maintain me. But even on a societal standard, we see it so many times. Some devotees who are completely sold out to Krishna, Krishna doesn't want them to stay in the society anymore, or right now. Therefore, he does not give maintenance in this way. It happens to some devotees. So we have to go beyond. We have to understand that everything that I'm going to do is just going to be for Krishna. And I'm just going to trust that He's going to be the one that maintains me. We can't rely on anyone else for maintenance. And this last thing that Dhruva Maharaj points out, the difference between the conditioned souls and God, in Krishna, is He's the enjoyer of all the sacrifices. He's the main enjoyer. And this is a very complex and deep topic. Krishna being the supreme enjoyer, the only Purusha. We are all Prakriti. He is the only Purusha. And all of us are making so many sacrifices. We're doing so many difficult things each day. Sometimes we really don't want to. Sometimes it's very difficult. The body may give so much trouble. The mind may give so much trouble. The people who don't know about Krishna, they're doing so many sacrifices to try to enjoy separate. For instance, I was walking yesterday, chanting japa, and I saw a man, and he was outside, and he was watering his flowers. But he had a real sour look on his face. And I was thinking, he doesn't want to do the sacrifice of watering the flowers. But why is he doing it? He's watering the flowers because he wants to enjoy the beauty. And therefore, he is suffering. Yeah. So this is the problem that we're conditioned with. We have to flip the script. We have to reverse the role. Everything we're doing is for Krishna. And in that way, then we will taste happiness. But it's not that we're doing this to attain anything. The only thing we want is to give Krishna pleasure. In the beginning stages, or in certain stages of bhakti, it may be tinged with some type of material motive. For instance, it's Dwadashi today, so Ekadasi was yesterday. And this is a very special day to maximize our hearing and chanting. Some devotees may have an understanding that I'm going to follow all these things because, it's listed. You do like this and you get this result. You go to the heavenly planets, or you don't eat any food on this day, and this is the pious merit that is given. The person who is purely following Ekadasi because Mahaprabhu told Mother Sachi to follow Ekadasi, and Krishna wants us to follow Ekadasi. Our acharyas have given us following Ekadasi, other than just to please my spiritual master and please Krishna. If we're doing it to receive some special potency or special shakti, it takes a different category of just pure bhakti. So this is an obstacle we too need to overcome if we want to go back in this life. Of course, it's very good if somebody does follow. It's very, very pious, and they make a ton of spiritual advancement. But somebody who has come to this platform of devotional service, often they are put in a family of great devotees or a wealthy family of like erudition, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So you would still make a lot of process, but multiple life process. We're really trying to go back home in this life, so it's important our intention is really fixed on, okay, I'm really trying to do this for Gopal's pleasure. Really trying to do this for the pleasure of Srimati Radharani, for Lord Chaitanya, for Nityananda Prabhu. So thank you so much for everyone patiently hearing. We have a little bit of time for some questions. Does anyone have maybe one question or a comment or a correction? Oh.
Yes, you were saying very many nice things. Thank you so much. Some people were saying some people think I know the Bhagavatam, and that, and what did you say? It was like impossible to know the Bhagavatam or something like that?
Well, there's one verse.
Yeah, like I was thinking of that verse that Lord Shiva is saying, like, I may know the Bhagavatam, Shukadev may know the Bhagavatam, Vyasadeva, he may or may not know the Bhagavatam. And then he says, on the whole, the spotless Bhagavatam, the spotless Purana, Srimad Bhagavatam, can be learned only through devotional service, not by material intelligence, speculative methods, or imaginary commentaries. And I was thinking, like, because the Bhagavatam is not different than Krishna, even Krishna doesn't fully know himself. Like it says in the CC, Lord Anantadev is with his billions of heads and his unlimited intelligence, he's trying to unlimitedly glorify for an unlimited amount of time the Lord's pastimes, but he can't even get to the end of it. And if he were ever to get to the end of it, the Lord's pastimes would have increased by that time and needed more glorification. So we can never fully know Krishna, but we can perfectly know Krishna if we become like, to the most ability that we can as an infinitesimal spark by fully achieving love. And that's like the best way to know Krishna. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yes, when one becomes situated in his relationship with Krishna, Krishna allows him to know everything in relation to him that is required in that relationship, and it becomes completely perfect. But even then, that relationship, they still are lacking some knowledge of Krishna and how the other devotees will relate to Krishna. So Krishna is not ever fully understood. It's a really nice comment, Prabhu. Thank you. Okay, it's 9 o'clock now. Thank you, dear devotees. Vanchakalpatarubhischa kripa sindhubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Nantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. To the Prabhupada ki jai.